I tried to make this video funny. It turned out to be kind of a bummer.
You're watching Corvid's Junkyard, posting what we want, when we want. This ain't your mama's YouTube channel.
I'm waking up! Alright, there's gonna be spoilers for Iron Lung. I'm not censoring the word suicide. We're gonna talk about my personal experiences with that. I understand if you might want to sit this one out. Also, I'm trying to get this video out before the movie releases, which is tomorrow at the time of recording. So if I do that, hooray. If I don't, oh well. So you're going to notice that the only visuals throughout this video are from my gameplay. There's not going to be any like fun graphics or fun outfits for Corvid to wear. This is also a thought bubble video. There's not research, it's just my impressions and thoughts of the games, and it's kind of an exploration into the philosophy and the weird, like, psychological place that it ended up putting me in. Truly, this is a second screen video, so go ahead, grab your snacks, grab a craft, grab a game, or go tuck yourself into bed, and let's dive into Iron Lung. Decades ago, every known star and habitable planet vanished, leaving only those who were on space stations or starships. This event became known as the Quiet Rapture. With supplies dwindling and infrastructure crumbling, survivors are searching for any trace of natural resources in a universe of barren moons, lit by the ghost light of vanished stars. One such moon holds a strange anomaly, an ocean of blood. You are a convict, tasked with exploring this anomaly, in a makeshift submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. It was not designed for this depth, so you will be welded inside, and the forward window will be closed. There is no time for training. If successful, you earn your freedom. Iron Lung thrives on just barely answering your questions. In fact, it answers very few. I could fill out like a fourth grade who, what, where, when, why, and how worksheet, but it would be at the fourth grade level. I mean, I could do better, but you get my point. The who is me, convict, and the rest of humanity, which is not many people, it sounds like. What? The quiet rapture, I guess? The anomaly? Where? Space? A blood-covered moon? When? Even this one, like, decades is such a vague amount of time. It leaves me wondering, how old am I? Was I alive before the rapture? Did I live on Earth, or have I lived on a spaceship my entire life? Why? We're looking to find natural resources, which I guess blood implies life should exist. If blood exists in this context the way that we understand it. And how? What do we all like to know? How is that we're going in a submarine into a blood ocean. Then you are sealed into the Iron Lung and you begin your descent. Then you get your second piece of information from the debrief. 2 weeks ago, we conducted an exploration of Moon AT5 for the first time since the Quiet Rapture, leading to the discovery of a fourth blood ocean. A trench beneath the ocean surface has several points of interest. Your task is to photograph these points of interest with the SM-13's forward camera. Photos must be taken within 2 units of the specified position and 10 degrees of the specified angle. You can also use the camera to help with navigation. Only photos taken at the specified points of interest will be saved. Since you can't navigate by sight, pay attention to your coordinates and consult the map. The proximity indicators next to the sub's controls will trigger if you're getting close to an obstacle. Good luck. And now we can answer a few more questions. We're 2 weeks out from the initial exploration of this moon, and we knew about this moon before the Quiet Rapture. This is the fourth blood ocean, which I can only assume that this is the fourth moon with a blood ocean, and not the fourth on this moon. And it's filled with a trench system that needs exploring. Somehow they got information about things they needed detailed pictures of. And all you get is a map with a list of coordinates, some vague shading on said map, and a GMC Sierra parking assistance monitor. A fun fact, I actually submitted my gameplay of Iron Lung as evidence on my ADHD screening because it took me reading the debrief 5 times before I learned how to play the game. The final piece of information we get is a handwritten note. This is not an expedition. It is an execution. When they put you in here, they don't want you to return. And even if you do, and even if they keep their promises, what freedom waits for you? A few dying ships in a sea of dead stars? If there is still hope, it lies beyond the veil. Hope in this void is as illusionary as the starlight. I will choose to breathe my last breath here at the bottom of an ocean, unseen, unheard, and uncontrolled. They will get their execution. I will get my freedom. I thought about this note the entire time I was playing, and I still don't know what my conclusion is about it. Was it us, the player, or whoever came before us? The letter starts by addressing us as a you, but in the end, we are the same as the writer. We are the I. The letter is nihilistic and hopeless. And not only about the mission, but the circumstances in which you find yourself here. You're doomed no matter what. You will die down here or you will die when you get back. Humanity cannot be saved. And no matter what, you will give your executioners the satisfaction of achieving their justice. Here's another quick note. Basically, my only exposure to Iron Lung is through my playthrough of it. I knew that the movie was coming out, and I'm aware that the trailer played while I was watching the best movie of all time, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but I wasn't really paying attention to it, and I've never seen a playthrough, not even Mark's, or an analysis of it. I know next to nothing about this game until it was spoiled for me. Sort of. I tried to look up how to save, and it turns out you can't win the game, so you don't need to save. Yay. Instantly, I found myself in the mind of the convict. This isn't new to Iron Lung. It's actually how I play games intentionally. I think it's more fun to pretend to be the character. But this happened so immediately. That's how effective the writing is. I didn't have to go through ooh, who do I think I am? What kind of person am I? No, I know. I know from reading all of that exactly who I was supposed to be. Go play Iron Lung. It's great. But as I began playing, my mind was starting to run in circles about why the convict would even participate in this. This is how the author of the note does and doesn't matter. If it's us, then we have already decided on our suicide before boarding the sub. If it's the one who came before us, we're left wondering what their journey was like. When did they realize that this is what was happening? Were they trying to warn us? If it's a warning at all, it feels to me like a melancholy reading of our last rites. So as I started to play, I found myself running into walls because I can't both read out loud and comprehend what I've read at the same time. And I started to feel frustrated with the circumstances, but not at myself, but at the people that had put us into this submarine. Like, why should I be dying for their benefit? Which was odd because that's not a feeling that I'm used to. I like to think of myself as an altruist, like if I can fix a road that I don't drive on, I still want the road to be fixed because other people drive on it. But the idea of the greater good was so clouded by the fact that I was being forced to do this. And again, it kind of felt like I was doing it for nothing. But the greater people was such a clouded idea because I was being forced to do this and I wasn't going to inherit that good, which again, in real life, I'm totally fine with that. Fix your roads no matter who's driving on them. But when I had my empathy put into this convict, I started to wonder why I was feeling that way. Again, it's a totally alien feeling to me. And that's where the nihilism comes in, because I, and by virtue, the convict, had concluded that there would be no greater good. There wasn't a good outcome to this. All of the evidence we have been provided at this point, even though it is minimal, has pointed us towards meaninglessness. Blood, when it's outside of life, is generally associated with death or dying. Even as a woman, I stand by this. And to clarify, we're talking red is not an appropriate color for a hospital kind of association. Blood, a pool of blood, or an ocean of blood, means that something is dead or dying. Think in a movie when the only character you like dramatically pulls away their hand and reveals blood all over their palm, or they go and they cough into a clean linen and then they see the little sparkles of red. So even though blood is the fluid of life, and it makes sense that this is where we would explore to find resources, All that aside, it's foreboding and it feels like an ending. Blood has a shelf life, and depending on the temperature of this moon, it's not unlikely that it has already met its end. So that brings up the question, are we on a fool's errand? And if we are, why? Everything comes back to why. In a society of dwindling supplies, how controversial is the death penalty actually? Are they trying to convince the public that our body is being put to use one final time and that they're not just dragging us out behind the barn? I mean, that comes down to personal opinion. Please do not go and debate the death penalty in the comment section. This video is dark enough. But us as the character, are we okay with them doing that to others? Are we okay with that happening to ourselves? It's an insane moral question to ask from a game that looks like it's meant to be run on the NES. That's a compliment. Does anything we do matter anymore? So let's return back to the note that asks this question. Even if you live, you get your freedom, then what? You're gonna die like everyone else? In a world of no stars and no hope. But you have to have hope. And I'm not saying that in like a therapy way, though you should always have hope. There is always good in the world. But this game forces hope upon you. There's no way to just die in the game, from what I can tell. Like, you can run into the walls, but again, I couldn't save the game, so I left it unpaused for over an hour, and nothing happened. There's perils in the game, like your oxygen depleting, the weird buzzing sound that gets louder, and there's a fire. But mechanically, those are triggered when you pass certain story checkpoints. So in order to finish the game, you have to progress. You have to play. And so now I was forced to have hope. It didn't just lie beyond the veil. I had to justify continuing to play. I needed to make up my own why. And I went through many. At first, it was a big old middle finger to my executioners. Like, oh, you want me to go explore for no reason until I die? Fine. And if I find anything cool, you'll never get to know about it, losers. And then that hope came back like a fire, like the one burning in the back of the ship. And it wanted to hold hands with the nihilism. Like, even if I die, there is always a hope that maybe this isn't not for nothing. What if I find something huge, something big, something life-saving and life-sustaining? What if I could solve all the problems and revive the world for the ones that I love? Then I took a really dark turn and I wondered what kind of life me, the convict, had been living. Did I even have loved ones? Was there someone for me to return to? Would someone grieve me if this was how I died? Because what if there wasn't? This is the part of the video where we're going to talk about my experiences with suicide. Hopefully the chapters aren't bugging out anymore and you should be able to skip ahead if you need to. If not, they are in the description of this video. I'm also going to leave a long list of crisis lines down there as well if you ever need them. I know that they are not the best, but they're better than nothing, and they did save my life. It was a really funny way that they did it, but they did save my life. And I do promise that the story has a good ending because I'm here. It's not pretty, it's not flowery, but I'm going to share how I survived. So I have bipolar 2. I was unmedicated for many years of my life, and it was literally killing me. I at all times felt like I was walking towards my own execution because my options were let this illness kill me or I could do it myself. That's the plot of Iron Lung. And it was exhausting. The highs and lows of bipolar and going through the episodes was exhausting and never knowing whether or not I was liked, even though people were constantly telling me how much they loved me. It was exhausting. I felt like there was no reason. And then one night, after making an attempt, I think I've used up how many times YouTube will let me say the word, so you know what word. I had this weird break where I kind of sat up after my mind was cleared and I got off the weirdest phone call in the world with a teenager on a crisis line. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to die, Screw it. I'm gonna live my life kinda however I want because nothing matters. I had this moment of thinking, you know what? The only consequence is death. So I stayed up late playing Minecraft with my friends instead of going to bed. I went and bought all the foods that I liked. I went for walks in parks that I wouldn't normally go to. Keep yourself safe, but they were safer than I thought they were that I had made up in my head. I went to like so many places I wouldn't have otherwise gone because you know what? Gonna die anyways. And then eventually I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try the medications that I've been terrified of my entire life. And then they worked. And then I was able to return to therapy with a clearer mind, and I was able to realize that people do like me, and all of a sudden I had hobbies. I know that is not the most beautiful story that I could tell you. I know it's not the most encouraging. And maybe one day I'll make you guys like an actual uplifting video, but this is about a video game. So we're going to try to keep it about the video game. And the important part about that was again, it starts to sound like Iron Lung. There was this weird hope that started seeding inside of me when I gave in to nihilism. Like, just because I believed that nothing mattered, it meant that I could let myself be free and kind of release those anxieties. And I know, it's easier said than done. I don't want this to sound like I'm giving you advice. I don't know, try it. Hey, did you guys know that the ozone hole is closing a lot faster than we had anticipated? 30 to 40% of the world's energy consumption is now from renewable sources like solar, wind, and nuclear. They're making mini peanut butter M&Ms, and a large group of animals has been taken off the endangered species list. And also, Markiplier's movie is showing in Guam. All right, back to the sad stuff. The mentality that I landed on for Iron Lung was that I might as well mentality that I had when I was very ill. Also, I talk about bipolar using the word illness and sickness. It's my brain, I can do what I want. Use the words that make you feel comfortable. Cool. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. I told you this video is gonna be the thought bubble rambly one. The mentality that I landed on for Iron Lung was might as well. Regardless of whether or not the information retrieved after the convict's death was useful. I was already down here, and I've been given the opportunity to pilot a submarine all by myself and see a world I would have never seen on the spaceship. I'm gonna die, so I might as well live until it happens. Even when I'm knee deep in blood. Let's go see if I can see one last weird wormy thing. Go follow the weird sound deeper into the cave. See what happens when you follow one wall the whole time. Even though the answer was nothing, I was still alive. Why not? Because I'm going to die, so this might as well be entertaining. Hope is inevitable. Even when I knew the ending of this game for a fact, there was a tiny amount of hope that something good would come out of this. I began to feel more at peace as I played, and I started thinking only about the good outcomes. The ending of this game is programmed, but that is only one potential ending. Maybe we get out with all of this information. We are free and we get to have a new life. We turn ourselves around from whatever crime we committed. And they use the plasma and the proteins in the blood, or they learn how to cook up those weird fish creatures. Or maybe they don't find anything here, but they do on one of the other moons. That bright light in the anomaly was actually a new star being born and would start a new world. There is hope. There are always more ways that the story can go, even if it only seems like there's one. And those are my thoughts. I know this was a really, really dark video. I tried to make it a little bit lighter at the end. I will be posting those resources in the description. And I want you to remember, even if you're sick of hearing it, you are loved and you can be cared for. It does get better. Even when you feel like you're playing to lose, I am begging you to keep playing. Even if it's just to make yourself comfortable, it will start to embed that hope in you that you will survive. All right, I'll stop being flowery. Guys, you gotta stay alive because we gotta make it to the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 movie. Come on now. All right, remember that we love you and have sweet dreams.